The Bear Essentials podcast gives older bears a place to gather for real talk regarding topics and issues that they can relate to. Here at The Bear Essentials, we aren't just having conversations. We are looking to provide actionable intelligence through real-life experience and expertise of our guests. Our mission is to build a strong community that elevates and motivates people to go beyond their limiting beliefs by helping them realize that getting older is not an excuse to hibernate on their goals, but a reason to work harder.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I am your host, Charles Wallace. Today's guest is a talented Scottish singer-songwriter. You may have heard his music in a Super Bowl commercial or on the Amazon Prime hit series Daisy Jones and the Six. Or you may have even seen him in the new MGM Plus series, The Winter King. So please, without further ado, let's welcome John Taylor to the show.
But first, a word from our sponsor. Wolfinger Consulting, experts who have achieved real results for their clients, including complying efficiently and successfully with overwhelming discovery orders, passing difficult third-party security audits, and deploying bleeding-edge technology platforms to control and preserve corporate information. Let them show you what Wolfinger Consulting can do for you. Be sure to check out their webpage at wolfingerforensics.com. Hey, John, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You're very welcome. Looking forward to a little chat.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. I've been a fan. I've been following you for a few years now, and really enjoy your music, your lyrics, and what you're doing. So definitely grateful that you're willing to come on and talk a little bit, and we can learn a little more about you. So could you introduce yourself to my audience?
Well, first of all, thanks. I didn't know you liked the music. That's great. That's a good start. Hi, folks. My name is John Taylor. I'm a Scottish singer-songwriter, and I'm based in a place called Motherwell in Lanarkshire, in Scotland, in the Shire. Sounds like the flipping Hobbit, but I'm in the Shire. I'm in Lanarkshire in a place called Motherwell, and I grew up in Glasgow, quite a rough kind of area. And the only way you get out of that is by boxing, playing music, or football. So I was rubbish at the other two. So I picked up a guitar. So that's kind of where I came from. And I started playing in bands from I was about 15 years old. I started auditioning, and just I wasn't the greatest at school and stuff like that. So, but music was a way that I could just sit with something and work it out. And it came quite natural to me. Next minute, I was sitting with a guitar and working out how to play classical music and stuff and on a guitar. And it I just loved music, you know? So it's like, while everybody was out playing football and boxing in the streets, I was sitting, playing my guitar and writing songs since I was 15. So it's flew by. Next minute, I'm a little older. Aye.
Well,
as it does.
Well, I can say this, man. I came about you, and I'm sure there's other folks that maybe have come across you and your music the same way. A commercial.
Right.
And I usually, in this day and age, right, I'm usually flipping through commercials. I won't stick on a commercial too long, but this commercial came on, and I hear this voice, and it made me stay with the commercial. And thankfully, I had the Shazam app on my phone, and I hit it, and it identified you and your song. So then I went and I start looking about a little bit. It was a few years ago, right? And I actually think I sent you a message after I heard your song on the commercial, and I just said, "Hey, love the song, thanks." And it was so funny. You responded. You're like something like, "Hey, thanks, mate." And then ever since I've been definitely listening. I really enjoyed the new album. One of the other things I want to talk about is your lyrics are outstanding. And I really enjoy what you do as far as playing music the lyrics and some of the scenery and nature that you put together. It's really fabulous. And please take this as a compliment. I, growing up, huge fan here in the States of John Denver. You remind me of the Scott. You're the, to me, you're like the Scottish John Denver. You put that whole thing with your lyrics, your music, and nature together. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you for that, because a song on my new album, it was like Standing in a Mountain, I think it's called, and it reminded me of John Denver when he used to sing about the mountains and all the scenery stuff. So I mean, that's just so that's a compliment. I loved John Denver growing up. Amazing. He was so talented, and nobody really knew how amazing he was. And then next minute he wasn't here. It was just, well, people did, but it was just, it was a lovely guy. You could tell he was a nice guy, couldn't you, just by watching him sitting performing, and really brilliant singing and songwriting, like you're saying. That's nice you to say the lyrics. You find my lyrics good, because I spend a lot of time on them. So I won't put something down unless it's believable, if it means something, you know. And it's like, so that's the thing. I'll just basically sit with my guitar and I'll hum a melody, and the first thing that comes over is usually what the whole melody is, and then I'll fit the lyrics into that melody, and then I'll just sit down with a bit of paper with the syllables, and I'll just fit it all in and try and come up with a concept. So I know, but sometimes I've got a lot of dark stuff too. I don't know. It seems to work well for me for placements in film, TV, because it's like it creates a mood. But it's just the lyrics are important, you know. That's definitely, and I think that's been sitting writing songs all my life, like 30 odd years. It's just important to, if you're going to put something out there, it might as well be the best that you can do, you know.
Well, I mean, I know, I can tell you, for me, man, the lyrics do touch me. And the thing I did want to tell you today in person is when I heard that song from the commercial, Break My Bones. It was, it was at a time in my life where I was actually on my own journey to regain my health, and I was going through some stuff. And I'll tell you, the line in that lyric, John, honestly, man, it was kind of my motto through a lot. And
really,
you may break my bones, but you'll never break me. And that's kind of how I am now, man. I honest to God, it's you may break my bones, but you'll never break me. And I still go back and I hear that song in my head, and it's just amazing to me that, discovered it on, of all things, an insurance commercial. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. That's warmed my heart there. That means a lot to me. Because when I wrote the song, because I try to write from the heart, when I wrote the song, I was quite, I felt as if I wasn't getting, nobody was giving me a stage to come out and play and perform in front of everyone, and everyone is like, it can be quite cliquish sometimes. Everyone sticks together and you don't fit in the mold. So I think I was on my fourth album, and I was struggling to get heard, and I got really angry about it one day, and I think I posted something negative, which I never do online, and it was I just wrote a simple, the United States of whatever. For some reason, it's like, I think it was a line for a song or something, and it was just a sarcastic thing, and some promoter wrote back and said, "What's wrong?" I was like, I've had it with this, but I'd wrote this song in 5 minutes, Break My Bones, and it was just about how I felt, and it's like every lyric in it means something, and it was like, that what you're doing is right, and that you're a good person. You're good with people, but if you're just not getting a chance, you just need to sit back and just say, right, okay, I'll just need to be patient. And ends up the angriest song I've ever wrote ended up in an insurance commercial about a guy that was struggling to get ahead, and I hooked up with a guy that was in the commercial, and his mum got talking to him and became kind of like chatting away and stuff like that, which is funny. And it was crazy, because it's like you're getting £1 million music video made for you for your song, and it's like it goes out everywhere. I mean, I couldn't believe they used that song, and it was like out of other songs, and I was working at the time. I've done all kinds of jobs to try and hold down the music career, and at times it was like a lot of jobs I've done, I've pretty much not enjoyed. But I've done it to support. I mean, but the jobs I've done have been okay too. But when I got that insurance, the State Farm commercial, it entitled me to walk away from my job. And next minute, because I didn't have to go to work, I started working in movies. Just as they were bringing Robert the Bruce, the Outlaw King. They were shooting that in Scotland at the time, and I just walked away from my job. I'd been offered to fly to New York to be the guy in the commercial that plays at a wee special event in the Hilton in New York. And then I got offered to go to Nashville. So it just went, my whole luck changed around from being in a job I didn't like to being in a movie set and doing all the combat stuff and all the fighting for about 6 weeks. And as soon as I took the muddy boots off, I was on a flight to New York, and then I come back, and then I was on a flight to Nashville. And then it was just like, wow, it just shows you how things can turn around.
Yeah, well.
And so it was good. Sorry, on you go.
No, sorry, I'll go ahead.
So it was like, it just shows you that sometimes what you're doing is right, you know, because I think it was 2012 when I got my first placement, which was Californication. And that was crazy because it went crazy with downloads because it was in such a good scene. And they asked me for the instrumental version, and I never had it, and I thought I was going to lose the placement. And they says, "Oh, we'll just go with it." So they played me in the background singing when it should have been just the guitar, and people were trying to hear it. And then they played it full blast for the beginning again, and that just it went more viral than the commercial. It just went crazy and it changed my life again. I was working in rehab at the time. I used to work with addictions, and I used to work in that sort of for a few years, which was a really good job. They were going to put me through my degrees, being a counsellor. So, and I used to run these crazy music workshops where I'd be walking into a room with maybe 12 people that are all in rehab, and it's mostly alcohol related. And I would say, right, we're going to sing a song today. I'd have a flip chart, and I would say, right, Ring of Fire, Johnny Cash, we're going to fit our own lyrics into that song, and just it'll be about our journey, and we all get together and talk and come up with the best lines, and then I'll sing it for you at the end, and I'll give you a copy of your A4 with your nicely written lyric with your song on it. And everybody said, "Do we get money if this takes off?" Everybody said that, so I was like, "No, it's not like that." but you know, it was every Friday afternoon. It was a castle I worked in, a 12th century castle, and every Friday afternoon there was a queue waiting to get into my song. It was the most popular thing that happened because it was really good, and to see them all arguing with each other, and it's about music, and it wasn't so much about them. So it was just like they let themselves go, and they were arguing about lyrics, and it was really funny because all of a sudden they were songwriters, you know. But they that sort of loved it because there was no judgment. You can't judge anyone, so it was like a really nice atmosphere, and I loved it. It was good. It was good. But then I landed Californication, and off I went again to California.
What a whirlwind, man! And I listen. Again, I'm thrilled that I kind of discovered you and your music because I really enjoy it. I wanted to ask you who, you know, I know we talked a little bit about John Denver. At least that's kind of what it reminded me of, at least from my perspective. For you growing up, who were some of your musical influences?
My biggest influence was Neil Young. When I grew up, I was listening to Neil Young on my. I learned my first couple of songs from a record player. I totally ruined the record by putting the needle back, and I learned "Tell Me Why" by Neil Young. And he's got a really high voice, Neil Young, and I had a really low voice, as you can hear, and he's like way up there. So I'm not this. So I spent years trying to sing like him, and it wasn't working. But I love Neil Young, and I liked his lyrics and all. I'm very influenced by a lot of his lyrics. He sings about when you're a kid and you're taken to the fair, and it's all this magic stuff. It's beautiful lyrics, and that kind of probably inspired me to write the way I do. And when I got the State Farm commercial, that's when Nils Lofgren had sent a message saying, "That's great, they used this somebody with heart and soul," and that's Neil Young's guitar player. And I could not believe that. I just could not. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
But that was a big moment. Just like wow, and it just so happened. It's like it's starting to roll now because I was in the Doggone film that came out in January, and then I just announced on my social media that my song was in Daisy Jones and the Six, which came out on Friday. And then I've also just announced I've just got my song in a movie that's coming out that's getting shot in California, and that's quite exciting. Now it's exciting being in all of them, but I know sometimes the placements are, you hear it really clearly, and sometimes in the back. So it's all up and down. You never know until it airs. But I know with this movie I'm doing, it's going to be special. I've heard it's had an impact on people when they've been watching it back. So I think, so that's all good. Just full on. No,
That's amazing, John. And look, you surprised me a little bit. I wasn't expecting Neil Young as your answer. A great answer. I wasn't expecting it though. I wasn't, but that is I can see it. I definitely can, because I mean, myself growing up, my mom was definitely 70s music,
right.
and we had music playing all the time, and I know even speaking to her, Neil Young, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, listening to Southern Cross, things like that. It was definitely it was a great answer by you. And something funny I want to tell you too is I'm 51, and I mentioned my daughter's watching that show, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Right.
Yeah, and I had to let her know I was speaking to somebody who had a song in that today, and it gave me some credibility with my daughter. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I just wish they played it a bit louder, but I mean, it's just the thing that's really cool about the placement is that I really like. I mean, you never know until it plays, but I think I'm meant to be a performer that's playing in the background somewhere while Daisy Jones is having a discussion. And the weird thing about that placement is I didn't think I would get that song in anything because of the lyrics, because they say that you can't be too specific. And I wrote the lyrics, I want to chill out like Neil Young, maybe move out to LA, write a song like Jimmy Page, California made my day. And I was like, that'll never get used. But they've used it because of that, And it's because it's based in LA, and it's based in the 1970s when that's when I was writing. So it's really crazy. I just made a wee TikTok video of it, and I sent it to Jimmy Page's daughter from Led Zeppelin. She's a photographer, and I says, "Listen, I've just done a song. It's been played in Daisy Jones and the Six about a fictional rock band. It'd be great if your dad could hear it." And I didn't think she would get back, and she said, "Thank you so much. I'll pass that on." I'm like, "No way! That's crazy."
Wow.
That's just crazy, because I love Led Zeppelin too,
Yeah. So did you ever hear back from Jimmy Page?
Well, that was just a couple of hours ago, so I'll give it time to see. You never know.
Please let me know if you hear back from him. I love to hear that. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's so awesome. So would you say, John, that when you're writing now, I mean, I listened to the new album, The World's Gone Mad. When you're writing now, are you specifically thinking about possibly songs getting into like commercials or movies or things like that?
No, I would say the only time I did that was "I Will Be Your Friend." That's the only song that I was like, basically, I was a house dad. I worked with autism for about 10 years, and so I would be looking after my kids during the day, doing daddy daycare, and then I would be going to do working with autism at night time, like staying in a community house. So, but while I was doing all that, I was writing my albums. But when I used to look after my kids, Toy Story used to be on all the time, and it would be like, "You got a friend in me." So I'd be sitting watching the TV with the kids and like that. And then James Taylor, "You've got a friend." It's like, what is it with this friendship? I should write a song that's about friendship, because that seems to be a good thing with and it's been used, and it worked. It was so crazy. It just worked. It got used in a TV show, then get used in another TV show, and then it got the space and the dog gone at the end of it. Not particularly one of my best songs. It was just like, and it's, I don't know, but it seemed to have, I don't know, the idea seemed to work, but you don't want to be writing specifically for something because that kind of takes away the art side of it, you know, where you're trying to express yourself. Or,
Right.
Aye. I find if you write something that means something, that will fit in anyway.
Well, that leads me to the next question. So obviously you've written a lot of songs, a lot of lyrics. If, you know, put you on the spot a little bit here, to you, what would you say is your most personal lyrics that you've written?
But I would say the best song I've written was like about alcohol. It was called Mud in Your Eye. It was one of my first songs. But lyrically, it's such an honest lyric, and it's about addictions. And it's about, I've come across it quite a few times in my life with alcohol and stuff like that. And it's that I end up going into work with it. And I was planning being a counsellor to try and maybe help people that were struggling with addictions and do something good. And so that song is really personal, and it's quite honest. And people have said to me, that's your best song just because it's so strong lyrically wise. It's like, it had a theme. I was basically, because it's called Mud in Your Eye, I had looked what actually is mud in your eye, and it goes back to when they were doing the harvest. It was like if you were out ploughing the fields, the mud would go in your eye, and that was part of the harvest that time of the year. And it's like then it's like I just seen it as mud in your eyes, like you can't see where you're going because your vision is clouded. Because a lot of times with alcohol, you get like something called Korsakoff, which is it's like brain damage through you know, any nutrients into your body. You're just like really, you're just drinking alcohol, not eating, and you end up getting a form of brain damage through it, like early onset dementia, and it just ruins people's lives around you. It's like it's an addiction, and it's like, so that's probably the strongest song I've written. But I don't play at parties to cheer people up, you know, when they're having a couple of drinks.
Right. So John, is there any songs that you've written that meant something to you when you wrote them, and now as you play them, they mean something different?
Well, before on my fourth album, I'd done a song called California, and I was like, I've always wanted to go to California at the time when I was writing it, and the whole song, it's the only song that I got it reviewed by some folk magazine, and they went on about this song California. Said the imagery is really good in it, and it takes you away to the beach and the palm tree or whatever. Just the imagery and the lyrics are really good. And I wrote that song, and then my luck changed with the Californication placement and stuff like that. And next minute, I was in California playing it. So within a year of writing that, I was actually in California playing it, singing. I watch the waves as they come crashing in, and it's like, no way. Be careful what you wish for. I mean, it's like that was so. I had a whole different perspective on playing that song when I was in California, when I'd written it in cold Scotland the year before. So I don't know.
Nah. So when you're writing, and again, I mentioned earlier about your like the scenery and the nature, things like that. Do you? I listen, and you may not, but sometimes I listen to your songs. I see these videos, and I picture that you're sitting outside in nature writing. Is that something that you do?
No, not really. It's mostly in my studio, my room. It's just where I'll sit down to work on stuff, and that's when I can, because I always have to be next to a microphone. So I'll just do it in here. It's very rare that I've been anywhere. One time, there's a place called Aberdeen. I went, I was with a girlfriend at the time, and I says I'm going to go up to the top of that big. It's like a big cliffside, and I'll be back down in an hour. I just want to go up there with my guitar and just have a wee song, and I'll come back down and we'll have Saturday night. And I'm up, and I was sitting in this cliff, looking out to the ocean, and I seen a whale coming up, and down at the bottom, I was like, it was it could only been a whale. It was absolutely huge, and it was like, is that one of the things you get with nature, where it just stops you in your tracks? And no way is that just happened. And it's like that was me sitting trying to write a song, but when I seen that, I was like, that flip, that just blew my mind. Just seen something big coming out of the water, but it just aye, great.
Wow.
Aye, so no, it's always written in the house, I suppose. Sorry to ruin that.
Hey, that's fine. I obviously wherever you're writing at, it's working, because you're, like I said, your lyrics are fantastic. So John, when you sit back now, you kind of look and see where you were, where you've come from, where you are now. Where do you kind of hope to go as far as your career?
Well, the thing is like I said earlier on, I was having troubles like getting onto the festival circuit. So when I was in California and I just had a #1 download and things were going really great, it filled me with a lot of confidence. So I just thought, if someone's not going to give me a shot in their festival, I'll create my own festival and I'll headline that. It just seemed out the box, and I did. I come back and I had the papers, I had sponsors involved, I had business owners involved, and next minute I put on my own festival and headlined it, and I was like, hold on, that's when you get a rush of confidence, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, I've been working on a festival idea, and so we've been in talks for it, and it's looking as if it's going to happen this year. So that looks like it'll be my job to be running this festival and playing at it for the rest of my days. And I can't say too much about it because we'll not put it out there, but it's quite exciting. And it's like we're talking about trucks and stuff like that, and all kinds of things. It's going to be big, and that's a plan I've been working on for years. I've tried to put it on like 3 times, but you just don't give up. But this time, finally, I've got a good team involved with me, and I've registered it as a business, so it's all above board, and we're going to start. Hopefully, it's going to happen. It should happen this year later on, and I'll be sure to keep you in. I'll tell you about it when I can let things out. But it's very exciting, and it's not just a music festival. It's very interesting what we're talking about putting on. So my plan was to do 10 albums, and then have all these songs out working for me. But as I just finished my ninth album, I'm starting to get more placements in films and TV and stuff like that. And just recently, I've signed with another couple of publishers that stay in different parts of the USA. I had a call on today with the Czech Republic. So they're asking about doing some music, an album, guitar tracks. So it's like, I think the licensing thing it'll end up just like making my living completely. Because up until now, I mean, the last few years, sometimes I'll just do the music and I'll end up working in films, because I like working in movies, especially when they give you swords and shields and you just get into a bit of laugh, you get a bit of, and actually through doing that, we got asked to audition we were working on something called The Winter King, it's called. And me and my brother were both asked to do an audition for it that was going to the director. So although people might laugh at doing a wee bit of like combat work in the back, we could have got a part out of it. The guy me and my brother went for it, and so this other guy, and he got it because he spoke German. And it's like, so, and then we went on set and watched him do the part that we auditioned for, and it was huge. So we could have been lucky, but it's not over yet. But so that's I just keep writing. I think this is my 9th album's just finished. I'm working with a guy that was on. He's an actor on Game of Thrones. I can't say who he is, but I'm actually going to be helping him record an album. He's coming on Friday. So because I was working on a TV show and I was talking away to him, and next minute he was like, "Oh well, you could probably help me towards making my first album to record it all." And so we'll just end up doing it. And I'm writing with other artists too. So it's just there's lots going on. I've never been so busy, you know. But
man, wow.
So it's like, so there should be more placements coming, because the more publishers I've got, the more the music goes out there to different people. excuse me, different companies. So it's just a bit chaotic just now. I've got my gig coming up in Glasgow. Just it's meant to be just I kind of took some time away from playing live when the pandemic hit. So this is the first proper gig I've done in a few years. It's like a headline show. So I'm just working on making that busy, and writing with people. And what am I doing? I'm shooting a music video tomorrow for this song that was in Daisy Jones and the Six. So we're finishing it tomorrow, and then doing it Wednesday, and then it's just full on. Doing what I want to do, but and it's just might as well. You can feel it. You feel it what you don't want to do, So it's just. I'm looking forward to more writing, and once this, I took a break from it because that was 3 years to make The World's Gone Mad, and I was going mad by the time I finished it because I was locked in the fucking house for the pandemic going on and just crazy stuff. But it's like that song was basically like that. The world had gone mad, so it's a perfect name to call my album to bring it out. But I think it's a good album. It's like, I think some of these songs are just starting to get put up for TV shows and film and stuff like that. And I think they'll do well. So I'm happy with the album, but I need to go out and play and put on some shows. So that's the next. That's what I'm working on with the festival. So that's just work in progress.
Well, for anybody watching this, please, I just, you won't regret it. Please check out John's album, The World's Gone Mad. You won't regret it. Trust me. It's fantastic. And I think one of the biggest compliments I can give you about it, John, is it's one that I can listen to from start to finish without really jumping around. So I really appreciate that. I want to end with this question for you. For folks who listen to John Tower, his music, his lyrics, what do you hope they take away from it?
Probably hope. It's like if you listen to my music and it can not inspire you, but it can make you think it's not just me that thinks that way. It's because I like a lot of my stuff is kind of written like from the underdog point of view, and it's like so, and it's like if I can sing a lyric that means something to someone and maybe makes them feel better about themselves or their situation, that's great. I've had so many nice messages from people that have lost people through like sort of a cancer, or people have died, and I get so many nice messages, people saying how much my music means to them. I mean, it happens quite a lot because I write about that type of thing, and that's really nice. Just that it's actually to say that it comforts them. I mean, that's I can only feel honoured by that if people are listening to my music and it's making them feel better about stuff. But it's not all doom and gloom with the music, because a lot of people think that when I'm talking about my music online is like, well, what would the gig be like? But I've got enough songs now to actually have quite a up tempo gig and just play a few slow ones. So, and because it's funny, we're talking about all the songs we're going to be doing at the gig. Because I put a band together. I was in rehearsal with them last Sunday, and they're good musicians. But it's like trying to pick what songs we're going to do, and it's like there's not a lot of time left. So I think we'll just do about 6 songs, and I'll just do an acoustic set myself, and then bring on the band, end it in a sort of a up tempo note, and just like.
Well, I can say this to you, man, John. I honestly, I meant what I said when I heard your song "Break My Bones." It's still something that I listen to, and it still is an inspiration, inspires me. And I'm so glad I heard the song on, of all things, like I said, the commercial, and I've, kept up with your career, and it's been a pleasure and an honor. So thank you. And like I said, for anybody who may not have heard of John, you may have heard of John, you just don't know it yet. His voice can be heard in a lot of movies, things like that. Definitely definitely check out John Taylor. You won't regret it. So John, thank you so much for taking some time today, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. And it's like I didn't realise you'd sent me a message on YouTube, because at the start of my journey, I wasn't even I wasn't even in that process. I just like answering the comments, stuff like that. But I've kind of came around to it that, come on, you get your act together. So I'm glad I answered your comment a few years ago. But I didn't recognise it was. I didn't realise it was yourself. And I'm glad you like my music. It's amazing. That's great to hear that.
And so, John, thank you so much. I will. Please, everyone, check out John Taylor. Like I said, you won't regret it. John, I'm going to be keeping an eye and an ear out for you. Great. Best of luck with everything you got going on. And hopefully we'll talk again at some point. All right.
Definitely. Have another catch up. Take care of yourself.
You too, John.
This has been the Bare Essentials. Thanks for listening. And remember, never hibernate on your goals.